to me, it seems like Niner fans liked the brick by brick method until maybe the Stafford trade. And then they see the Rams and they're like, man, you know what? Let's go all in. Let's be aggressive. And maybe there are some methods, some merits to that. It's like the Rams have had more success than the Niners, although ultimately both teams have gotten to the Super Bowl and lost. So it's hard to say the Rams have a better method. Let's talk. Which do you prefer and why?
I believe in the brick by brick method. But you gotta pick your spots to where you want to go after that. But that big shiny brick. But ultimately, I think the brick by brick method, it's proven out to be the better method. These teams that, if you look in the past, the teams have gone all in, they don't get to the Super Bowl and they don't win. I think.
Yeah, when I was growing up, the teams that went all in were like Washington every year.
Right.
And it never worked.
Right. They go and spend all their money in free agency and then would end up, 8-8 or 9-7. The thing about it is the NFL, there's too many variables. Like if you put all your eggs in one basket, all of a sudden something happens, your quarterback goes out. Or look at the Niners season this year. All of a sudden your whole roster is injured. Now you went all in for a dead season. Okay. Right. So I think when you're roster building, you really, in my eyes, you have to look at it as you're going to attack it as a 3-year period and build your team so that you can keep that window open within 3 years, and and if you can knock at that door within all those 3 years, hopefully you can break it down. And so I think that's to me.
Right, because if you go all in for 1 year, you're taking for granted the nature of the sport, which is injuries, unpredictability. It's not baseball. These guys get hurt. It's a game of attrition.
Right. Not only that, but even as something as look at what happened to the Saints in a couple of years ago, and they got the call, didn't get the call, and then they did go to the Super Bowl. There's so many things in football that can go wrong. You're not playing a 7-game series. You're playing one game. So
the best team doesn't necessarily advance. Things like that.
You don't. So putting all your eggs in one basket, it's to me, it's not the greatest idea. I think you have to attack it from a longer term perspective, and I think the most successful teams do. If you look at New England, we can all say they had Tom Brady, but if you look at what else they did, the other things they did to help supplant him, I think that they took their opportunities that they took were smart opportunities. They chose their spots where they were going to take an opportunity, and they were smart ones.
Right. Like they, instead of having a roster with 5 or 6 elite players like Dallas often has, they would have Brady and Gronk and Edelman and basically a bunch of mid-level players.
Right.
So they would have as like a middle class on their team and depth, and it always worked for them.
Yeah. Right. And how often can you think back when Bill Belichick trading away his first round picks? He was always trading for more.
Right. Trading down, getting more, accumulating more.
Accumulated and trying and trade away his players like
Chandler Jones. Yeah.
Richard
Seymour.
Richard Seymour was an all-pro player for 2 years in a row. It was very, very good.
Borderline Hall of Famer on the ballot. Chandler Jones probably will be one day too. I mean, he gets 20 sacks a year. Serious players. Sorry, we can't pay everyone. It's like you don't want 65% of your salary cap tied into 5 players. What if 2 of them get hurt? Now your team, you don't have a team.
Right.
So and that's really that's the Rams right now. Everyone's excited about the Rams, but hold on, real quick, look at their roster structure. $22 million is dedicated this year to Goff.
Right.
Okay. And then 20 more is to Stafford. 20 more is to Donald. That's 3 players. Only 2 of them are on your team. I don't think it's going to work for the Rams. They might make it to the playoffs. I just don't think the ultimate goal is going to pay off.
You don't win games in the offseason. You win games. You actually win them on the field.
And the thing about McVay comes from Washington.
He does come from Washington.
And worked with Bruce Allen. I'm just saying, Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
And I mean, If you look at it, if you look at the whole Rams thing, and you compare it to the Garoppolo, the Niners set themselves up better. You know, both teams gave a contract to a quarterback they shouldn't have. But
Right.
if you look at how the Niners did it versus how the Rams did it, when the Niners cut Jimmy, if they do, hopefully they do, or trade him, they're not going to their cap hit is not going to be what the Rams cap hit is going to be. It's not going
to.
Yeah,
$22 million dead cap hit. And the Rams were like, yes, that is the best we can do. And the Niners are going to have 2.4. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So,
and that's the benefit of going brick by brick. The Rams traded 6 picks just to get Goff. Then they gave him this ridiculous contract just to justify the investment. And then they had to do all this to get rid of him. At least the Niners don't necessarily compound big mistakes. They compound little ones, like Dante Pettis becomes 8 picks. But they're all like, you know, they're not major picks, but it's like the Dante Pettis problem persisted forever.
Yeah, there's in their roster building, there's definitely some things that they can correct. I think the first thing they need to do is they need to take players that have injury history and that is a priority and take them off their board.
Yes.
Or if
for a year or two, just to cleanse the roster. Yeah. Stop doing that. Yeah.
Not just in draft, but in free agency. Like anywhere, unless you're paying a guy, unless you're not going to give a guy a big contract, or you're drafting a guy in like the 4th round, don't do it.
Yeah. The Jason Verrett contract, fine. 4th, 5th round, fine. That's the time, but not in round 1, not in round 2. Dear God. Yeah. So that would be a lesson to learn from the brick by brick. You want solid bricks, especially.
Yeah.
Foundational ones.
You don't want them crumbling as you put it.
No. You don't want Adobe. No, I don't know. Maybe Adobe's fine. I don't know about that.